32 years on the bench. 32 years weighing lives, destinies, and decisions that echoed far beyond the cold walls of my courtroom. I once thought I had seen everything, that my heart had long since built a shield against the tears that so often fell within that chamber. I was wrong. My name is Helena Vasquez, and for over 3 decades I carried the gavel of justice. I retired 5 years ago, yet there are still nights when certain verdicts haunt my sleep. Some cases brand your soul. They don't just make you question your choices, they make you question the very nature of justice itself. This was one of them. It was a rainy Tuesday in April when the case landed on my desk. Case number 2847/2019, The People vs. Ana Isabel Santos. On the surface, it seemed like just another child neglect case, one of many that had crossed my docket over the years. I couldn't have been more mistaken. Ana Isabel was just 17 when I first laid eyes on her. Thin, pale, with hollow eyes that held the weight of decades, she sat in the defendant's seat with a quiet dignity that caught me off guard. She wasn't defiant like so many troubled teens I'd judged. She wasn't broken either. She was something else. She looked like someone who had grown up far too fast. The prosecutor, Mr. Mark Ferrer, a seasoned man known for his strict approach, laid out the charges with his usual clinical precision. Ana Isabel was accused of child endangerment and severe negligence. The victim? Her younger brother, Michael, 8 years old, with advanced cerebral palsy. Your Honor, began Mr. Ferrer, the defendant abandoned her disabled brother for 3 consecutive days. No proper food, no necessary medication, no minimum care, all while knowing his condition requires constant attention. When neighbors finally contacted social services, the child was dehydrated, malnourished, and in critical condition. I glanced at Ana Isabel. She kept her eyes on her clasped hands, but a single tear rolled down her cheek. It wasn't a tear of fear or guilt. It was something deeper, more painful. Where were the parents during that time? I asked. Their mother passed away 2 years ago, cancer, the prosecutor answered, flipping through his notes. And the father left the family about 6 months ago. No one's heard from him since. My chest tightened. I had a feeling where this was going, but I needed to hear the full story. The defense would be crucial. Anna's public defender, Carla Mendez, a young attorney I'd watched grow in my courtroom, stood up with a mix of resolve and sorrow in her eyes. Your Honor, my client is not a criminal. She's a child who was forced overnight into adulthood. She's been carrying burdens no teenager should ever have to carry. And that's when the real story began. The one the case file couldn't tell. Ana Isabel was the oldest daughter in a working-class family. Her father, Robert, had been a car mechanic. Her mother, Lucy, a nursing assistant. Life had already grown complicated when her younger brother Michael was born with cerebral palsy, the result of complications during labor. From that point forward, everything revolved around his care. When Lucy was diagnosed with cancer, Ana was only 15. No one asked her to, she simply stepped in. She woke at 5 every morning to bathe Michael, prepare his medication, feed him, and still make it to school on time. In the afternoons, while her mother underwent chemotherapy, Ana kept the household running. At night, when Lucy was too weak to get up, it was Ana who stayed awake to turn Michael so he wouldn't develop sores. She stopped going out with friends, Carla explained, her voice steady but heavy. Stopped going to school events, stopped thinking about college. Everything in her life became about her mother's treatment and her brother's survival. When Lucy passed away, Robert unraveled. He began drinking, skipping work, disappearing for days. At 16, Anna became the sole caregiver for Michael, feeding him, changing him, managing his therapy, and somehow still attending school. To make ends meet, Carla continued. She took a part-time job at a local diner, then another as a house cleaner on weekends. Her life became a cycle of survival. Monday to Friday at the diner, weekends cleaning homes, classes in the evening, and 24-hour care for Michael. She was sleeping 3 hours a night, Your Honor. For almost 2 years. I looked at Anna again. Her eyes told the story better than any words. Eyes that no longer belonged to a girl, but to someone who had seen too much, felt too much, and given more than any child should. And the 3 days in question? I asked. That's when the tragedy became unbearable. Anna had collapsed at work the previous Friday. Doctors said it was exhaustion, severe anemia, and early signs of physical burnout. She had to be hospitalized. She begged them to let her go home, Carla said. Begged. But the doctors were firm. If she didn't rest, her body could shut down completely. Anna had no choice but to stay. Before leaving, she prepped Michael's food, organized his medication in labeled boxes, and asked her neighbors to check in on him. But life being what it is, the neighbors barely did more than peek through the window. Everyone had their own struggles. Your Honor, Carla said, when Anna was released on Monday, the first thing she did was run home. She found her brother in distress and rushed him straight to the hospital. She's the one who called for help. So why are we here? I asked, already knowing the answer. Because protocol demands it. When a hospital identifies a child in danger, it must report it. That's how we ended up in court. I paused the hearing. I needed a moment alone. Back in my chambers, I stared out at the endless rain. I thought of my own daughter, who had been Anna's age not so long ago. I tried, and failed, to imagine her carrying such a burden. When we reconvened, I asked Anna to speak. She had remained silent the entire time. Now, it was her voice I wanted to hear. Anna Isabel, I said gently, can you share your version of the events? She lifted her gaze for the first time. In her eyes, I saw not fear, but exhaustion so deep it had become part of her. Your Honor, she began, voice calm but cracked with fatigue. I know I shouldn't have left Michael alone. I know that. But I couldn't go on. I haven't slept through the night in 2 years. I haven't gone out, haven't had a break, haven't felt like a teenager since I was 15. She paused, wiping tears from her cheeks. Before my mom died, she made me promise I'd never let Michael be taken away. She didn't want him in a group home or institution. I swore I'd keep him safe. And I've tried. Every day since. You're still just a child, I said, and immediately regretted it. Anna gave a soft, hollow smile. I stopped being a child the day she was diagnosed. Since then, I've been Michael's mom, his dad, his nurse, everything he has. And you? I asked. Who takes care of you? That question broke her. She stood still for a moment, then whispered, No one, Your Honor. But that's okay. I don't need care. Michael does. That was the moment I fully understood. Anna wasn't negligent. She was a girl trying to survive a war no one else could see. But the reality was still there. Her brother had nearly died. Anna, I said, do you understand that your choices, even if made with love, put Michael's life in danger? Yes, she said, trembling. and it kills me inside. But I didn't know what else to do. I had to work, to study, to care for him. There aren't enough hours in the day. And I'm just not strong enough. She broke down for the first time. Not out of guilt. Out of sheer, aching defeat. Carla then laid out their proposal. Anna would accept psychological support, social assistance, any measures the court deemed necessary. But she asked for just one thing, not to be separated from her brother. She is willing to accept help now, Carla said. But Michael is her whole world. And she is his. Prosecutor Ferrer stood firm. According to the law, there had been neglect. Michael had been in danger. No matter the circumstances, Anna had to face the consequences, and Michael should be placed in professional care. Your Honor, he said, our duty is to protect the child. This teenager, no matter how well-meaning, cannot provide the specialized care he needs. Legally, he was right. But there was so much more to this than law. I adjourned the court for 1 week to consider my ruling. And then I did something I rarely allowed myself to do. I stepped outside the courtroom and visited the people involved. Anna Isabel's home was modest, a small, worn house in a quiet neighborhood. But it was clean, organized, and filled with care. Michael's room had a hospital bed, therapy tools, a wheelchair, neatly stacked supplies. She researched and bought it all herself, the neighbor told me, Mrs. Maria Gomez, a kind-faced woman in her 60s who lived next door. She worked 2 jobs to buy that equipment. And what amazes me most, she never complained. Not once. And during the 3 days she was hospitalized? I asked. Maria hesitated, then lowered her eyes. She asked me to check on him. And I said I would. But I had my own problems. My grandkids, my bad knees. I peeked through the window a few times. I didn't realize he was in danger. I feel awful about it. Maria began to cry. That girl, she's an angel, Your Honor. Just one who's too tired to fly. Later, I visited the hospital where Michael was recovering. The medical team all echoed the same thing. He was healing well. And, incredibly, the care he had received at home had been adequate, despite the circumstances. Doctor, I asked the pediatrician in charge, can Michael live a decent life with proper care? Given the severity of his condition, yes, he replied. He's responsive, bright, and shows emotional connection. With therapy, consistent treatment, and, most importantly, love, he can thrive. And the sister? How would you assess her caregiving? The doctor took a breath. Technically, she was doing everything right. Medication schedules, hygiene, feeding, all on point. The issue is, she's a kid caring for a child with extreme needs. It's just not sustainable. But she was managing. Yes, until her body collapsed. She was severely malnourished. If she had continued that way, we'd be treating her instead of just him. That night, I didn't sleep. I dug through legal precedents, consulted child protection laws, researched alternative custody models. But there were no guidelines for what this truly was, a girl holding up a world alone. I called my daughter at her university. Sweetheart, a hypothetical, would you rather live with someone who loves you deeply but lacks resources, or go to a facility that meets all your needs but offers no personal affection? She paused. Is this about that case you've been thinking about all week? Just answer the question. I'd choose love. Every time. Because care can be trained. Love can't. The courtroom was full on the day of the final hearing. Social workers, child welfare officers, members of the community, all present. Isabel sat in the front row in the same clean, simple clothes. Next to her, in his wheelchair, was Michael. It was the first time I saw them together. Anna held his hand with such care. Michael looked at her like she was his whole world. And maybe she was. I took a breath and began. Before issuing my decision, I want to share a thought. This case presents us with one of the deepest dilemmas of justice, when love is not enough, but it's all there is. I turned to Isabel. You have been accused of child endangerment. And technically, yes, your actions did place your brother at risk. She braced herself, shoulders tight, expecting the worst. But after careful consideration, and in light of the exceptional circumstances, I rule the following. Isabel Santos, you are guilty as charged, but you are granted judicial pardon. There will be no criminal sentence. A wave of emotion swept through the room. But I wasn't finished. However, this court acknowledges that both you and your brother need help. And that help must come from the state, not punishment. Therefore, Anna and Michael will remain together under monitored supervision. Anna will receive psychological counseling and educational support. A home caregiver will be assigned to assist with Michael during school and work hours. Michael will receive state-funded therapy and medical support. Their situation will be reassessed every 6 months. Tears streamed down Anna's face. Michael, not fully understanding, smiled at her reaction. She leaned down and whispered something to him. He made a soft noise in return. Anna laughed and turned to me. He said he loves me. I believed her. Every word. 6 months later, I received a report. Anna was back in school, working part-time, and, for the first time, getting rest. Michael was thriving in therapy and attending a special education program. Anna is still tired, the report read, but now she's learning to ask for help. She no longer carries the weight alone. A year passed. I received a letter. Anna had graduated high school and earned a scholarship to study nursing. I want to care for children like my brother, she wrote. Michael had learned to communicate better and sometimes asked about the nice lady who let us stay together. 2 years later, a graduation invitation arrived. Anna was finishing her nursing degree. The photo showed her and Michael, both smiling, both whole. The weariness in her eyes had faded. In its place, hope. I attended the ceremony. Afterward, Anna hugged me tightly. Thank you, Judge. You saved our family. No, I said. You saved each other. I just made sure love wasn't punished. Michael gave me a drawing, 2 stick figures holding hands. Us, Anna said. A small family. But strong. I kept that drawing for years. It reminded me that justice isn't about rules alone. It's about people. About compassion. Even now, 5 years into retirement, I still get updates. Anna works in pediatric care. Michael is in a regular school with support. They live in a home they earned. Anna is married now. Her husband accepted Michael from day one. When young judges ask me for advice, I tell them this story. Justice needs law, but it also needs heart. Anna and Michael taught me that true strength is in showing up, again and again, when no one else will. That family is not always blood. That love is not a luxury, it's a right. That day in court, I didn't just judge a case. I bore witness to what justice really means.